Over half of IELTS speaking students score below Band 7 globally. In this video, you will hear a Band 7 student answer questions asked by the examiner. I have spent years helping thousands of IELTS candidates move from Band 7 to Band 9, and I have seen exactly what it takes. Let's go! Part 1, Introduction and Interview. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Atkinson.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Lily Nakete. Please call me Lily.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Seoul, South Korea, though I've been living in Toronto for the past 4 years while completing my degree.
Do you often borrow things from other people?
Not particularly often, to be honest. I'm quite independent by nature and prefer to have my own things. That said, I'll occasionally borrow books from friends or kitchen equipment from my flatmates when I'm trying out new recipes.
What kinds of items do people usually borrow?
The most common things tend to be everyday household items, things like tools for minor repairs, cooking appliances, or perhaps a vacuum cleaner. Books are also frequently borrowed, though that's become less common with e-readers. Students often borrow notes or textbooks from classmates as well.
Are you comfortable lending your belongings to others?
It depends on the item and the person, really. I'm happy to lend most things to close friends whom I trust to take care of them. However, I'm more hesitant about lending expensive items or things with sentimental value, simply because I'd be quite upset if something happened to them.
Have you ever borrowed something and forgotten to return it?
Unfortunately, yes. A few months ago, I borrowed a novel from a colleague and it sat on my shelf for weeks before I remembered. I felt quite embarrassed when I finally returned it. It's taught me to be more mindful about keeping track of borrowed items.
Do you think people borrow less nowadays than in the past?
I'd say yes, definitely. With online shopping and same-day delivery becoming so accessible, people can easily purchase what they need rather quickly. There's also been a shift toward individual ownership. People seem to prefer having their own things rather than sharing or borrowing, perhaps because we've become more materialistic as a society.
Is borrowing money from friends a good idea? Why or why not?
Generally speaking, I think it's risky and should be avoided if possible. Money has a way of complicating relationships, even between close friends. If someone can't repay on time, it creates awkwardness and potential resentment. However, in genuine emergencies, I suppose it's acceptable as long as both parties are clear about repayment terms from the outset.
Part 2, card. Now I am going to give you a topic. You will have to talk about the topic for 1 to 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes to help you if you wish. Here is your cue card. Describe a person you know who works in a family business. You should say who this person is, what kind of business they work in, what their role is in the business, and explain what you think about working in a family business. 1 minute for preparation is over. Please begin when you are ready.
I'd like to talk about my Uncle David, who runs a restaurant business that's been in our family for over 2 decades. My uncle operates a Korean BBQ restaurant in the heart of Toronto's Koreatown. It started as a small establishment that my grandparents founded when they first immigrated to Canada, and it's grown considerably over the years into quite a popular dining spot, especially among the Korean community and food enthusiasts. David's role has evolved significantly. He started helping out as a teenager, doing basic tasks like washing dishes and serving tables. Now he's essentially the general manager, overseeing everything from inventory and staff management to menu development and customer relations. His wife handles the accounting side, and his eldest daughter has recently joined to manage their social media and marketing efforts. What strikes me most about watching him work is the personal investment he has in every aspect of the business. Unlike employees who might view their job as just a means to earn income, David genuinely cares about maintaining the recipes his parents created and preserving the restaurant's reputation. There's a sense of legacy and family pride tied to the business that motivates him differently. However, I've also observed the challenges. The lines between work and personal life are quite blurred. family dinners often turn into business discussions, and disagreements about the restaurant can create tension during family gatherings. I have witnessed arguments between David and my grandfather about whether to modernize certain aspects of the business or stick to traditional approaches. Despite these complications, I think working in a family business has significant advantages when done well. There's generally more flexibility, a stronger sense of purpose, and the satisfaction of building something together. In David's case, he has the autonomy to make decisions without answering to distant corporate headquarters, and the profits directly benefit his family rather than external shareholders. That said, I'm not sure it's the right path for everyone. It requires a certain temperament. You need to be comfortable with family dynamics affecting your professional life and vice versa. Personally, I admire what my uncle has achieved, but I prefer maintaining clearer boundaries between my family relationships and my career.
Part 3. Discussion abstract topics. What are the advantages of owning a business?
The primary advantage is autonomy. You have control over your decisions and direction without needing approval from managers or shareholders. There's also unlimited earning potential, unlike salaried positions where income is capped. Beyond financial benefits, business ownership can be deeply fulfilling because you're building something of your own and seeing the direct results of your efforts. Many entrepreneurs also value the flexibility to set their own schedules, though in reality, especially early on, they often work longer hours than traditional employees.
What challenges do people face when starting a new business?
Financial uncertainty is probably the biggest challenge. Most new businesses require significant capital investment without any guarantee of returns, and many entrepreneurs struggle to secure funding. There's also the reality that many businesses fail within the first few years, which creates considerable stress. Beyond finances, new business owners face steep learning curves. They need to understand marketing, accounting, legal requirements, and operations simultaneously. The workload can be overwhelming, particularly if you're doing everything yourself initially.
What qualities are important for someone who wants to run a business?
Resilience is absolutely crucial because you'll inevitably face setbacks and rejections. Successful business owners need to view failures as learning opportunities rather than reasons to give up. Strong decision-making skills matter tremendously since you're constantly making choices that affect your business's future. Adaptability is also essential. Markets change, customer preferences shift, and you need to adjust accordingly. Additionally, I'd say financial literacy and people management skills are vital, particularly as the business grows and you begin hiring staff.
Is it better to start a business alone or with partners? Why?
Both approaches have merit, honestly. Starting alone means you maintain complete control and keep all profits, but you also bear all risks and responsibilities yourself. Partnerships can provide complementary skills. Perhaps one partner handles operations while another manages finance and shared financial burden. However, partnerships require compatible visions and clear agreements about roles and profit sharing. Otherwise, conflicts can destroy the business. I'd say it depends largely on the specific individuals involved and whether their skills and working styles genuinely complement each other.
How is running a family business different from working for a large company?
The decision-making process differs dramatically. In family businesses, major decisions often involve consulting family members and considering how choices affect family dynamics, whereas corporations have formal hierarchies and procedures. Family businesses typically have more flexibility, but sometimes lack the professional systems and resources that large companies provide. There's also the emotional dimension. Conflicts in family businesses can affect personal relationships, while corporate disagreements usually remain professional. Career progression in family businesses might depend on family connections rather than pure merit, which can be both advantageous and limiting.
Do governments provide enough support for new businesses?
This varies considerably by country, but generally, I think there's room for improvement. Many governments offer grants, loans, or tax incentives for startups, which is helpful. However, the bureaucratic processes can be overwhelming, particularly for first time entrepreneurs who aren't familiar with navigating government systems. I'd like to see more accessible mentorship programs and simplified regulatory requirements for small businesses. The reality is that excessive red tape often discourages entrepreneurship. So, streamlining these processes while still maintaining necessary protections would benefit everyone.
Band 7.0 performance analysis. This response achieves Band 7.0 by demonstrating good fluency, flexible use of vocabulary and grammar, and the ability to develop topics coherently, though with occasional limitations that prevent Band 7.5 scoring. The speaker maintains natural fluency throughout with minimal hesitation or repetition. The discourse flows smoothly using appropriate markers like "to be honest," "that said," "however," and "generally speaking," that create conversational rhythm beyond basic linking. Part 1 responses show good development. Answers extend naturally beyond minimal responses with relevant elaboration. When discussing borrowing, the speaker provides specific examples, books, kitchen equipment, and contextualizes responses within personal experience, demonstrating Band 7 ability to sustain discourse. Part 2 demonstrates solid organizational skills with clear progression from introduction through description to analytical reflection. The narrative addresses all bullet points naturally rather than mechanically, weaving them into a coherent story. Transitions feel organic. What strikes me most, however, I've also observed, despite these complications, the response reaches 90 seconds with substantive content rather than filler, showing the sustained discourse expected at Band 7. The speaker moves beyond simple description to analysis, discussing both advantages and challenges of family businesses, which demonstrates the thoughtful development characteristic of this band. Part 3 responses show good analytical ability with well-developed arguments. Each answer presents multiple perspectives or dimensions of the question. When discussing business partnerships, the speaker acknowledges both solo and partnership advantages, showing balanced thinking. Ideas are extended appropriately with examples and explanations, though they occasionally lack the depth or originality that would indicate Band 7.5 or higher. What prevents Band 7.5 is the occasional lexical repetition without sophisticated paraphrasing, somewhat limited range of the most advanced grammatical structures, and Part 3 responses that, while well-developed, don't quite reach the exceptional analytical sophistication or original insights characteristic of Band 7.5. The performance is solidly Band 7, fluent, coherent, and demonstrating good control of language with minor limitations preventing higher scoring. Subscribe to the channel not to miss 2 videos I release weekly. All the best in your preparation.